Welcome everyone. This is our experiment 10 for BCT, and basically this is our mini project and our attempt to make a multi-signature wallet to intimidate wallet applications like MetaMask and other Ethereum calculating wallets using simple smart contract functions. So I am Shivam Nikam, roll number 34, along with Palash Pancha, roll number 35, and Yash Salunke, roll number 43, are presenting to you our experiment 10, our mini project. So I would like to walk you through the implementation of our multi-signature wallet smart contracts. So we have created the contract which allows us to or multiple owners to collaborate on a financial transaction securely and transparently. So let's dive into its key functions. So looking at the contract structure, the contract is named multisig and it is compatible with Solidity versions greater than 0.8.2 and less than 0.9.0, and owners and confirmations. So the contract involves multiple owners and a requirement for minimum number of confirmations the owner are specified in an array, and the number of confirmation required variable ensures that a transaction requires a specific number of confirmations from owners before it can be executed. Now, if you look at the transaction structure, as highlighted, we can see that transactions are represented using a custom structure named transaction. This structure has three properties. The recipient address, which is 2, then the amount of the ether, which will be transferred, so which is basically the value variable, and the flag to track whether the transaction has been executed. So that will be done by the execute flag. So looking at our event, so we have included several events. So we have included the lock key action, then we have included events such as transaction submitted, transaction confirmed, and we have done the execute transaction. So let's look at the submit transaction. Coming to the submit transaction function, we have used the recipient's address and the amount, that is the value, to be transferred. Then a new transaction is created and its details are locked. It is crucial to ensure that the recipient is valid and the amount is greater than 0. Moving on to the confirmed transaction, we see that the confirm transaction function allows the owner to confirm a pending transaction. It checks if the transaction is not already confirmed by the caller and then marks the confirmation. It is enough confirmations are reached, the transaction is executed. This ensures that the transaction can only be executed when a predefined number of owners confirms it. And then our final smart contract is the execute transaction. Execute transaction functions enables the execution of a confirmed transaction. It checks if the transaction hasn't been transferred, executed already. So we'll check the value and we'll check the recipient, and according to that, we will check if the transaction is confirmed or not. Now we will move on to a small demo that we have prepared on Remis IDE about the deployment of our application. Yes, yes.
So now we are only taking two addresses for confirmation. Owner has like two addresses as owner for confirmation. That's why I'm having two. Yeah, okay. Now I will do transaction, which is successful. Let's see our multi-signature wallet. Let us check our owner. So this is the first owner, and this is the second owner. Okay, now you will see the number of confirmation. If that's true, that's great. And now let us do some transaction. So currently, if you will see, we do not have any kind of transaction. So it will actually give us an error. Okay, but the transaction has been reverted. So now let us do one thing. Let me go to this particular address, that is 0 for B2, and let's say this is particular address wants to send, let's say, 20 ether. So the 0 for B2 wants to send 20 ether to this 787 address. Okay, so now let us copy this address. I will go back to 0 for B2, and then I will go for the submit transaction. Okay, and I will paste the address. So now if you see 787 is the address to whom we are going to send 20 ether, but will not only submit the transaction, means When this person will call the submit transaction, then 20 Ether will be submitted as a transaction. Now let me do that. So I'm going to do a transaction. So this transaction is successful. You will see that 20 Ether has been transferred to the contact address because this is a pay bill function, right? Now if you see that 20 Ether has been deducted from 05 or B2, but it is still 20 Ether and has not been transferred to 787. Why? Because I said this is a multi-signature wallet. In order to confirm this transaction that we have submitted, this particular address has submitted these two addresses, need like this two owners to confirm this particular transaction, right? Now the transaction is not confirmed. So that's why it's not executed, and we can check the transaction. Now this is the transaction at 0th index. This is the address to whom we want to send 20 Ether. So now this is given in that way, such a long value, and it is still not executed, right? And that's why it falls. So now what we will do is now we'll execute this particular transaction by confirming the transaction. And for what we need to go back to the owner's address, that is 040 5B3 and 05B3. Let's say want to give confirmation for this particular transaction ID, that is 0th. Okay, so let's confirm the transaction. So now this transaction confirmation is given. We can check in the transaction tab here. So first address, that is 0B53, actually give confirmation for this particular transaction ID. But still, if you see the 20 Ether has not been transferred to the 787 address because we need confirmation from two people. Right, so now we need to go to 0B8 and then we need to again confirm that transaction. As soon as I have clicked on this confirm transaction, you can clearly see that 20 Ether has been deducted from the smart contract address. It has been transferred to 787. So now 787 has 120 Ether, and this is our Ability Signature Wallet works. By having the address of owner, we can make this a smart contract work only when the number of confirmation is greater than or equal to the number of confirmations that we have passed, right? So this is right, and I hope this is really helpful for you because you can use this concept in any smart contract that you are trying to implement. I have implemented for the transaction part, but we can definitely implement the same thing for any smart contract which we want to create.
And to
And for
basically
any smart
suffice
contract,
any
when we do not want
conditions
to,
for which our smart
exactly.
contracts are created. So this is basically our working of our centralized app. Thank you. That's about it.